Hello everyone. Welcome to the last set of questions of the 2017 GATE question paper, and as you know we are doing only the organic questions. So now I am going to do question number from 51 to 55. So the first question is the structure of the intermediate P and major product Q formed in the following reaction sequence are. So these are the reactants. You can see here there is a cyclic ketone, and then you have secondary amine which is cyclic, and then you are putting acidic media and refluxing it in toluene just a solvent here, and you are getting P. Then it asks for Q, so you are having allylic bromide here, and you are working up with in aqueous acidic media, and then you are getting Q. Let's go ahead with it. So the first reaction, if you see, it is enamine reaction, Stokes-enamine reaction. So in Stokes-enamine reaction, what happens is you have a ketone. The important thing is the ketone should have at least one alpha carbon. Alpha means just next to it alpha carbon, which should have a hydrogen. Minimum one hydrogen needed. If that is not there, then enamine reaction will not happen. And here you will need secondary amine. Now this is also very important. Why? Because if it is primary amine, it will form imine. If it is tertiary amine, it won't react at all. Only when it is secondary amine, then water is removed, and then you get a enamine. So if you see here how water is being removed. So from the secondary amine, one hydrogen goes out, another hydrogen goes from the alpha carbon, and then from the oxygen it goes, and you get a double bond here, and imine gets added. So basically nitrogen gets added here, this nitrogen and RR part, and you get double bond here on the alpha carbon. Okay, so let's look at the mechanism, how the mechanism happens. The first step is of course protonation, because it is in acidic media, and then secondary amine attacks it, you get alcohol, and then this oxygen lone pair goes and attacks this proton, this electron comes here, and you get this H2O, and then important part is this alpha proton is being taken away by the base, and then this goes in and you get enamine. So basically double bond on the alpha carbon, and your secondary amine is added without the hydrogen, right? Now in this question we are having this molecule and this molecule, right? So this is the carbonyl carbon, this is also alpha and this is also alpha. Both the alpha carbon, even this alpha carbon has proton, even this alpha carbon has proton. So which one will react to give the enamine, right? So enamine, two possibilities are there. Imagine if it reacts with this side, and I am giving a numbering as A, and reacts as B, and we'll see which side it is more stable, which side is more which enamine is more stable. So one possibility is you get double bond this side and you have CS3 here. Another possibility is you get this side and you are having H here, because H was there initially, two hydrogens are there, one hydrogen lost, so one hydrogen is there. Now stability will depend. See, we have to not go by because it is alkene, more substitute alkene is more stable. No, not that. What we have to look here is the steric hindrance. If you look here, this carbon and this carbon both are sp2 hybridized. That means the shape will be trigonal planar at both this carbon, right? So that means this is in plane on the board, this is also on the board, this is also on the board, right? Here also this is on the board, this is on the board, and this is on the board, right? So these three are in the board. Okay, now what happens is this CH3 is quite bulky, and even this secondary amine, cyclic secondary amine part, these two are bulky, and they both are plane, exactly eclipsing each other, parallel to each other. It creates lot of steric hindrance. Whereas if enamine is formed this side, so these two are parallel to each other. Now hydrogen is very small, it does not create any steric hindrance. So this part we have no issues. But if you look this part, what happens is this carbon is sp3 hybridized, not sp2. So this CH3 is coming out of the board, this hydrogen is going inside the board. Therefore this is in between both of them, and therefore it is quite stable, and therefore B is more favored than A. So you get enamine on the less substituted carbene when you form enamine, the alkene goes on that carbon which is less substituted rather than more substituted because of this steric hindrance, as we explained just now. Right. Now what happens? So this was the P. Next step is very simple. It's a nucleophilic attack. This nitrogen lone pair goes down and then this comes out and attacks the electrophilic center. Now see this carbon bromide bond, it is in the allylic position. Whenever leaving group is then allylic position to a is an allylic position basically next to the double bond, then what happens? SN2 reaction is very fast. Why? Because see this anti-bonding orbital. Bonding orbital, you have to show bigger lobe towards the bonding and smaller lobe outside. But in anti-bonding you will be showing opposite. In anti-bonding you will be showing the smaller lobe towards the bond and bigger lobe outside. So this anti-bonding overlaps effectively with this pi bond, this p orbitals, and therefore the transition state is polarized. Transition state is stabilized, and therefore the nucleophile attacks here, and this will get out, and so the product will be basically this lone pair comes in, this comes here, attacks on this carbon, Br goes off, and you get a enamine, and then you just hydrolyze it, enamine goes off and you get ketone. So this is your Q. So product answer is B. Just one more thing I want to add. There is also another possibility that this lone pair will go and attack here, this will come here, and this comes here, and this Br goes off. But this will be very little amount, some 5% or maybe less than that will be formed, because here the attack was on primary carbon. Here the attack, 2 methyl groups are there. So lot of steric hindrance is there. So attack will not be that easy. Okay. Moving on. Hydration of fumaric acid. So this is fumaric acid. Fumaric acid is alkene, transalkene basically, and you are having COH and COH on the transfers to each other. Right. Fumaric acid gives malic acid. So this is malic acid, COH, CHOH, CH2OH, COH. Right. It gives malic acid as shown below. Assume that addition of water takes place specifically from A phase or B phase. The correct statement pertaining to the stereochemistry. Now this molecule you can see is very uniform. So it is planar. So attack can happen either from this side or attack can happen from this side. And both the carbons are equivalent. So it really does not matter. I show the attack on this carbon, I will fix attack only on this carbon 1, which I am labeling as 1. 2 I will not show, but both are equivalent. I could have shown with 2 also, but I will fix with 1. And then A phase is coming outside the board. You understand? A phase is from outside the board. See, this is in the plane. This whole molecule is in the plane. This COH, this bond, and this COH, everything is on the board. So this H2 is attacking from outside the board, and B phase is coming from inside the board and attacking. That's why you can see dash line is there. Okay. And then we have to see it is giving S product or R product. That's all. It is simple. So let's go ahead. So imagine the attack is happening on from A phase, that is from outside it is coming, outside the board, and happening on carbon number 1 because that's what I have taken in the reference. So when H2O comes and attacks from here, what will it do? It will push this and this inside, and OH will come on the top. So you are having OH towards the viewer, exactly in front of you, okay? And it has pushed both of them inside, and you are having this CH2OH. Then just little bit we have to rotate so that they come in plane. I am rotating 90 degrees so that this OH comes in plane. H goes away from the viewer and COH is towards the viewer. Now basically they want you to use CIP rule and give the absolute configuration. Now first thing is the lowest priority should be away from the viewer. How am I giving the priority? Priority I am giving according to the atomic numbers of the substituents. So first is here oxygen is there, here carbon is there, here carbon is there, and here hydrogen is there. So between carbon, oxygen and hydrogen, of course carbon is the highest atomic number, so this will get first priority, hydrogen will get fourth priority. Okay, hydrogen gets fourth priority. Now important thing is the lowest priority should be away from the viewer. So this hydrogen away from the viewer, so it makes our job very easy. We don't need to do any more operations and we can find out. Now problem is between these two. Here there is carbon, here there is carbon, but this carbon is attached to one oxygen it is COOH, so it is C double bond O and OH, correct, and another one O. So it is attached to basically three oxygen atoms. Double bond is considered as two bonds because it is absolute configuration. It is considered as it is attached to two oxygen atoms. So three oxygen atoms, whereas this one is attached to one carbon and two hydrogens. So of course we go step by step. First was carbon, we could not find. Next here is oxygen, here there is carbon as the highest. So this one gets second preference and this one gets third preference. Okay. So now when you are having this 1, now when you are having this 1, 2 and 3, so fourth is away from the viewer. Look how it is spatially arranged. So 1, 2 and 3, it is going anti-clockwise. If you can't remember, just remember how you write S, okay? We also write S like this, anti-clockwise. So this is anti-clockwise. So this is S. So when the attack happens from phase A, you get S stereomer, okay? Now same thing we look from the B phase. When attacks from the B phase, again I am attacking on the carbon one because that's what I have taken as indicator. So when I am attacking here and this one comes here, so what happens? H2 attacks from behind, pushes hydrogen COH towards the viewer. Again I'll rotate 90 degrees here so that H goes behind, COH goes in the plane. Okay, so sorry, 120 degrees I am rotating, 120 degrees so that it goes exactly behind. Wait, what have I done? I think something is wrong, okay. I didn't write properly. Basically we have to rotate this one 120 degrees, so 120, 120, 360, right. So 120 degrees I am rotating here so that OH comes in the plane, this COH comes front and this H goes behind and you get like this, okay. So there is no issue because overall angle should be 360 degrees. So 120 degrees when you rotate, you get like that. And now you have to give the configuration. So of course oxygen gets first preference, priority we are giving. Second preference goes to COH, third to this, and fourth to hydrogen. So it is going 1, 2 and 3. So it is R. So the lowest priority is away from the viewer. We will write exactly what it is. So we get R. So the answer is A. Right. Next question. Hydroboration of 2-butene. Hydroboration of 2-butene with diborane. Basically, it's a diborane, one of the derived diboranes. So one of the substituted diboranes, I think it is dicyamylborane. It yields U, which on treatment with iodine and sodium methoxide. Sodium methoxide is a powerful base. At minus 78 degrees Celsius gives V. The structure of U and V are. So it is asking this. Okay. So this was bit involving question. It took quite a long time for me to understand. But the thing is 2-butene is what is important right now. Let's start with that. So 2-butene is here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And you are reacting with borane. So borane, you know, borane adds by anti-Markovnikov's rule. And basically it adds by syn fashion. Okay. So both the hydrogen and the boron gets added on the same phase. So imagine if it is attacking from down, so this one goes and attacks this boron because boron is electron deficient, and this electrons, this pi electrons, electron rich in center, and therefore they go and attack here, and this comes out, and you know that it goes through transition state, and you're getting this. So this is the cis alkene which is formed. So this will be your U. This was very simple. There is no issue with that. Second, so once this is formed, now we are reacting with I2. Now it will be easy for me to explain attack from down or above. So what I am going to do is right now this and this all are in the plane. That means they are all on the board. If you rotate 90 degrees so that CS3 goes behind, this comes front, this goes behind, and H comes front. So they are still exactly in plane. They are in one plane. Only thing is this part is towards the viewer and this part is away from the viewer. Okay. So you are getting this kind of system. Now you are attacking with I2. So what happens? This goes and attacks here. This goes and attacks here, and you get I plus. So because attack is happening on down, so these two are pushed up. So this H is going up, CS3 is going up, this boron part is going up, and this CS3 is going up. Next step is interesting. Next step, again I minus is there, this I minus goes and attacks boron, because still boron is electron deficient because it has only 3 bonds, that means 6 electrons, its octet is not complete. Then when this attacks this C6H11 part goes and attacks on this carbon. Now this is very interesting, this is what you have to understand. This is in plane, this carbon iodine bond is in plane, and therefore the anti-bonding orbital is exactly 180 degrees, so which is behind both of them. So this will go and attack here, and this will come in the plane and will push both of them on the top. So what happens, C6H11 comes in the plane, it pushes this front, it remains towards the viewer but it goes down, and this also goes down. Okay, so it is pushing them down basically. Yeah, I hope it's very clear. The iodine is attacking, this one is going attacking here, and so this is coming in the plane and pushing both of them down. So it is coming down, right? And then elimination has to happen. For the elimination to happen, this I is the leaving group and this boron part is also the leaving group. So they both have to be anti-periplanar to each other. That means they both should be at the angle 180 degrees. So what I am doing, I am leaving this part as it is, only holding this part and rotating it and bringing it to the top. So by mistake I wrote 60 degrees, should be 120 degrees. So I am rotating it to 120 degrees so that boron goes here, and this C6H11 goes behind and CH3 comes front. Think about it, it's very simple. Don't move ahead without understanding. You are rotating 120 degrees, so 120 degrees here, it goes in the plane, and this C6H11 goes away from the viewer and CH3 goes towards the viewer. Okay, then OMe minus attacks this boron, this comes here, this goes out, and you are getting this product. So this you just rotate 90 degrees, I am putting it front, so you are getting this product. So if you want to give, you can give the E and Z also. So this one gets first priority, this one gets second priority, this one gets first priority, this one gets second priority, so it is Z. So the answer is D, right? Moving on to the next question. The question says the structures of the major product W and X in the following synthetic schemes are. Okay, so you are having this molecule pyridine, you are reacting with per acid or peroxy acid. That's very simple. As soon as you react with peroxy acid, it forms N oxide, N plus O minus. Okay, and the next step is interesting. You are reacting with benzyl bromide. Okay, so now actually when you have this N oxide, you will be thinking that oxygen will pump the electron and then it will undergo electrophilic substitution reaction either in ortho or para position to this. Actually that's what should happen. If only pyridine was there, then electrophilic substitution happens on meta position, but when oxygen is there, then it happens on ortho and para, because it directs the electron. You have N plus also here, but the thing is, it is electron deficient center. This is a very powerful nucleophile, and this is special reaction where this O minus actually attacks on this carbon. So generally this is a rare reaction. I saw this in Claydon, either Claydon or Caruthers, I am not able to recollect, but one of them I saw. So generally reaction will always go in ortho and para position. This was one of the exception reaction. They generally ask exception reaction. So here attack happens again on the benzylic position. Now same as allylic system, benzylic system undergoes substitution reaction very fast. Why? Because this anti-bonding orbital will be there. They overlap very well with the pi bond, and therefore stabilizes the transition state. And therefore benzylic halides, benzyl means benzene plus CH2. They are best electrophiles, okay, among everything else. So yeah, so basically it reacts with the peroxy acid, it goes and attacks here, this electron comes here, this takes away proton, you are getting N plus O minus, and then this O minus goes and attacks this benzylic position, Br goes out, and you are getting this. Next step is very easy, you put a base, so base will take away this proton, you get double bond here, this comes out, so you get pyridine, and you are getting benzaldehyde. So this answer is D. It looks very easy, but it was one of the very rare examples. Generally pyridine oxide does not go reaction like this. Now last question says measure product Y and Z in the following reaction sequence. So you are having acyl halide which has a double bond also on it, vinyl acyl halide reacting with sodium azide. Now azides are very powerful nucleophile, very powerful nucleophile. It is almost as powerful as cyanide, okay, or maybe little more also. So you are reacting with that, so of course it will form azide here. You are putting aqueous toluene and then you are heating it up to carry out the reaction, and then second step you are adding again benzyl alcohol, and we have to see what is the product formed. Okay, so of course first step is azide is there, sodium azide, so N3 minus is there, so it goes and attacks here, this comes up, this goes down, Cl minus leaves, and you are getting this. And then what happens is, because heat is there, no, immediately whenever azide is there, you always get this kind of intermediate called as nitrene. So this N2, because N2 is excellent leaving group, triple bonded, very stable. So this negative charge comes here, this comes, it goes here, you get a negative charge, then this leaves and you get nitrene. So nitrogen having lone pair of electron, though it is neutral, but its electron deficient, its octet is not complete, it has only 4 electrons, right? So it will accept electrons. Whenever nitrene is formed, know this always. You see lot of reactions are there, they all go through same pattern. It will undergo rearrangement. So like Curtius rearrangement is there, so many other Hofmann rearrangement is there. All the such rearrangements always goes through this kind of rearrangement. This nitrene lone pair comes here and this immediately moves out and you get isocyanate. This is most important most important intermediate, goes for a lot of reactions, Schmidt reaction, Curtius rearrangement, Curtius rearrangement, Hofmann rearrangement, most of the rearrangement it will go like this. So lone pair comes here and this goes and attack here, you get isocyanate. So this is your product, this is your Y. And then what happens? You are reacting with benzyl alcohol. So benzyl, as I said, benzene CH2, that is benzyl part, then OH. So alcohol goes and attacks here carbon. This is very simple because carbon attached to oxygen also, nitrogen also. So lot of positive charge, positive polarity. So oxygen goes and attacks here, and then nitrogen will go and take the proton, not oxygen. Okay, nitrogen is more basic, so it goes and takes away this proton and you are getting this molecule. So this is the product, answer is A. That's it for today. Thank you.